This ain't no handouts. No shortcuts. No middleman.
No middleman.
No middleman.
No middleman. Middleman.
No middleman.
No middleman. Middleman.
No middleman. No middleman, I get it direct. Pressure talk, I don't deal in the flex. Cut the line, I don't wait, I collect. If it's mine, I'ma claim my respect. No middleman, I move with intent. Boss moves only, every dollar was spent. No favors, no deals, no rent. Built from the ground, now the whole game bent. Started with a vision, had to cut the distractions. No handshakes, just results and reactions. They was talking plays, I was making it happen. Turn losses to losses, then flipped it to passion.
Disclaimer: this broadcast is intended for commentary, discussion, and entertainment purposes only. All topics and statements are based on publicly available information, including news reports, social media content, and third-party sources, which may include allegations or unverified claims. The views expressed are opinions and should not be interpreted as confirmed facts. This content is not intended to harm, defame, misrepresent any individual, organization, or entity. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everybody remembers the headlines. Everybody remembers the name. But when the cameras leave, when the hashtags stop trending, who stays long enough to see how it ends? Verdict, sentence, settlement. Criminal court, civil court. Same tragedy, different lanes. After the headlines, after the lights, after the cameras disappear in the night, everybody spoke when the story was hot. But what happened after? Tell me what we forgot. After the headlines, follow the file. Justice takes longer than a 30-second soundbite. Names on the screen, pain in their eyes, but truth still matters. After the headline, Memphis nights, January 23. 5 officers, 5 charges came immediately. 2 took pleas, 3 went before the court, but federal and state brought different reports. Federal jury, tampering convictions came. Civil rights counts didn't all end the same. In Tennessee, May 25, not guilty on every state charge they tried. Family attorneys stood demanding justice, but criminal prosecution wasn't their function. That's the distinction when examining the case. Who filed civil claims and who prosecuted the state case? Outcomes, 2-part show. PDF. After the headlines, after the lights, after the cameras disappear in the night, everybody spoke when the story was hot. But what happened after? Tell me what we forgot. Brooklyn, Center, Minnesota, 21 traffic stop ended with the firing of a gun. Potter said taste it, but the handgun fired. A young father gone and the nation asking why. First and second degree manslaughter, the jury convicted. 24 months was the sentence inflicted. Below the guideline, roughly 16 served. Family said the punishment wasn't deserved. Crump represented the family and criticized the time, but prosecutors handled the criminal side. Minnesota Attorney General carried that fight. That's an important distinction when telling it right. Case outcomes, 2-part show. PDF. Stop. A settlement is not a conviction. A lawsuit is not a prosecution. A press conference is not a verdict. Civil attorneys represent families. Prosecutors bring criminal cases. So before we decide who delivered justice, ask who prosecuted, who negotiated, who filed, who won, who lost, and what actually changed. After the headlines, open the files, go past the cameras, the speeches and trials. Don't give me a slogan, don't sell me a side, give me the record, let evidence decide. After the headlines, where are they now? Who faced the jury? Who made it out? Who got convicted? Who walked away? What did the family receive? At the end of the case, Tyre Nichols Daunte Wright. The names became headlines, but we're not stopping at the headline. because emotion.
Every time another name becomes a headline, the country seems to follow the same script. First comes the shock, then comes the anger, then the protests, then the arguments about race, policing, politics, justice, and who should be blamed. People march, people yell, communities divide, politicians speak, attorneys hold press conferences, cameras surround grieving families. And for a moment, it feels like the entire country is paying attention. But then the cameras leave, the hashtags stop trending, the crowds disappear, and the family is still sitting there with an empty chair at the table. Maybe there's a settlement, maybe there's a conviction, maybe there is legislation, maybe there is a check with more zeros than most people would ever see. But there is still one question nobody can avoid. What were we actually fighting for? Because if only the measurement of justice becomes how much money a family receives after someone dies, then somewhere along the way we have started putting a dollar amount on life. And if we repeatedly accept tragedy, protest it, compensate it, and then move on until the next name appears, are we creating change or are we quietly accepting acceptable losses? Tyre Nichols, Daunte Wright, different cities, different circumstances, different legal outcomes. But behind every nationally known name is a family that still has to live after America moves on. Bigger than settlements, bigger than whether you support or criticize the people involved, we're asking whether our outrage has an objective. What does victory actually look like? Is it accountability, policy change, safer communities, better policing, strong, stronger families, less division? Or have we become so accustomed to tragedy that the protest itself has become the victory? Because if we don't know what we're fighting for, we will never know when we've actually won. Welcome to the Grifting Series, Part 1, Unfinished Business After the Headlines.
You get your ass blown the fuck out. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out the fucking cup. Damn, I didn't do anything. Hey, I didn't turn your ass around. All right. You don't do that, okay? Get on the fucking ground. Get on the ground. Okay, I'm gonna tase your ass. All right, I'm on the ground. Lay down. That's up. Lay down. Please get on the ground. I'm going to tase you. Get on the ground. Lay down. One. Now. I tase him. All right. Okay. All right. Break your shit. Okay, dude. Damn. Turn the fuck around. Put your fucking hands on your back. Bitch, put your hands on your back. Okay, stop. I'm going to knock your ass the fuck out. You guys are really doing a lot right now. Bro, lay down. I'm just trying to go home. Man, if you don't lay down. I am on the ground. Put your hands on your stomach. I got you. Okay. Get the fuck back. Stop. I'm not doing it. Please. Oh, shit. 2938, where it rains, and Ross. Taser was deployed. Suspect is running down Ross. Young male, black, slim build, blue jeans, and a hoodie. Southbound on Ross, when we last saw him. What's up? I got you. All right, hang on. Ready? All right, just straight. One of the prongs hit the bastard. All right, your car's right in front of you.
Look at my car, grab my water.
All right, hang on. Where's your water? Can't see shit. Okay, I got you. Get my water? Yeah, right here. Negative 29.38. Where are my damn glasses at? Huh?
Okay, sit up the front.
Left eye? Yeah.
We have the car. Sit up the front.
Let me get left eye again? Yeah.
Like a camouflage jacket, like orange, green, and red, and it's gonna be bald head.
Plaid jacket. Huh? Martin and all them are over there chasing him.
Welcome to No Middleman. We have our series tonight, the Grifter series, part 1. What happens after the headline? That was the footage from the Tyre Nichols body cam footage from the police officers. We showed the shortened version because we all know how it ended. It ended with another black man losing his life, but from people who look like himself. But that's not even important on this series of grifting or unfinished business. We're going to show you guys 3 angles tonight for 2 different stories. We're going to show you guys the footage, the verdict and the outcomes, and then also the justice, or what we call it, the family residue. We have a major case going on right now that everyone's speaking about, the Nolan Wells case. We also have the young lady in Mississippi that was found hung behind her home, Tiaja was her name. But I wanted to talk about here on No Middleman because we always talk about everything when it's popping, everything when it's hot, everything when it's going to get you clicks. But who's speaking about the family 2 to 3 years later, a year later, the moments where we don't see them anymore, the moment that we don't know if everything followed through, or that moment we feel like the money we gave them was enough to shut them up? So tonight we're going to show you guys 2 cases. We're going to show you guys the footage, the verdict, and then also what's happening after the verdict was given. So we're going to start off tonight discussing the footage of the Tyre Nichols. Again, we all know how it ended, but how do you guys feel about this situation? I know I spoke about this way before we even started No Middleman. This was pretty much like right after the COVID pandemic. So I did cover it previously prior to we started No Middleman. But I would love to get your 2 thoughts on this situation if you guys are familiar or abreast to it.
You know, we speak on the aggressions, and it feels like it's a green light on us. You know, just on society, it seems like it's a green light. But this is just this was over. How long ago this was?
This was 2023.
Damn, time be flying. And it's like, it seemed like that is it a green light on us? Like, is it a green light on the society? Like, it just seems as if the aggression is just so high during a normal, funky traffic stop. And they put so much aggression, like, it's like you can't even say nothing. Like, just keep it. Like, are they here to just force the law down your throat, or are they here to enforce the law? But if it's a traffic stop, how does it end up like this? It's everything I've been seeing is very disheartening. That's the only thing I can come up with. Like, other than being outraged or upset, trying to call a militia, it just seems like everything is just disheartening.
I feel you on that. What about you, Ray?
What I did get familiar with the case over the last couple of days, and in reference to what we're, um, of course, what these 5 gentlemen did allegedly, it was wrong from the get go. There was some background information that supposedly Tyre was dating or had spoken with one of the officer's exes, and it was some the officer sent that picture of him being beaten up to the ex girlfriend. It was a whole lot of background noise going on behind the scenes for the reason that all this went down, allegedly and supposedly. Right now, none of those 5 are in jail. A couple of them have been convicted of a civil, what was it called? It was a federal charge that they were convicted of, but none of them are serving jail time. They're actually, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. So they're being tried on the state and federal level. They got acquitted on all 3 state charges. The state did a murder trial, and then the federal did a like civil rights conspiracy charges type deal. And when it comes back to the unfinished business after the trial, Ben Crump was their civil rights attorney, and I think a lot of people get things mixed up too when it comes to these civil rights attorneys as well. They think that Ben Crump can go towards like criminal charges. He can't prosecute. He represents the family. He can push for transparency. He can pursue legal, civil litigation. He can help with the fact finding, all of the um, detective work, doing their own private investigation. He can help with that. He can challenge the narratives. He can do things like that. But as far as like prosecution, he doesn't do that. And I think a lot of this falls along the wayside because after the criminal prosecution is done, then um, after the criminal prosecution is done, then that's where Ben Crump comes in play for the most part. Yes, you can represent the family from the beginning, but after the fact, um, and I think I was trying to see if um, there was I think I had it here. I think they have a pending date for later on in this year and I don't know, Souls, if you was going to get to that or not, but later on this year for the civil case. So
Yeah,
my apologies for.
you're fine. You're fine. I'm gonna let you do your thing. Let you do your thing. We got
Yeah.
we got 3 segments for it. I'm letting you do your
Okay.
thing. But with that being said, the reason why I wanted to put this series together was because I think the biggest answer that we have to start asking ourselves is, what do we want out of these situations?
Mm.
What do we truly want for the families? What are we doing to ensure those things are being fully followed through with the families? How do we support in getting these things done? How do we not go from one case to the next case to the next case and then forget about those who pretty much started these battles, right? They started these fights. There's parents out there fighting. So this is what that series is going to be about. And then also there's been a lot of people using the word grift or grifter in a very incorrect term. So we will be discussing that more and more throughout this series. But I think the biggest thing is just to make sure that everybody understands that it doesn't matter how loud we are at the beginning if we're so quiet at the end. So we're going to move on to the second part of this, which is going to actually be the verdict or outcomes of this case for Tyre Nichols. And it's going to talk about it here, and then we'll discuss the outcomes here. So here we go.
Verdict in the trial of 3 former Memphis police officers in the death of Tyre Nichols in 2023. 29-year-old Nichols was brutally beaten during a traffic stop last January. He died from his injuries just a few days later. Prosecutors say the 5 officers involved in the incident did not provide life-saving aid to Nichols. The 3 officers convicted Thursday were found guilty on counts of witness tampering, and 1 was found guilty of civil rights violations, meaning the other 2 were acquitted on that. Nima Rahmani joins me now. He's a former federal prosecutor and president of the West Coast Trial Lawyers. Thanks so much for joining me. What's your response to the verdict, and can you help us understand these charges or these verdicts?
Well, thanks for having me. A surprising verdict, split verdict, but I would say it's essentially a defense verdict. The prosecution here, the Nichols family, has to be very disappointed in some of the not guilty verdicts, particularly on the most serious counts. And I'm happy to go through them, but we're talking about 4 counts, the most serious of which are depriving Tyre Nichols of his civil rights, as well as failure to provide medical aid. Those are counts that carry potential life sentences in federal prison. And all 3 former police officers were acquitted of those most serious counts, and I'm happy to go through them. We can start with Tadarius Bean. He was found not guilty of depriving Nichols of his civil rights, failure to provide aid, and conspiring to do the same. And conspiracy, of course, is an unlawful agreement with 2 or more people. He was only found guilty of the final count, which is obstruction. That's essentially the cover-up. And even though that carries a potential 20-year sentence in federal prison, it's certainly less serious than the other counts. And Justin Smith, the 3rd officer who was shown there, he was found not guilty of those same 3 counts. Count 1 being the civil rights violation, count 2 being the failure to provide aid, count 3 being the conspiracy. He was also just convicted of 1 count, that 4th count of obstruction, the tampering, and so forth. Haley did receive more of a mixed verdict. He was found not guilty of the civil rights and failure to provide aid counts, but he was found guilty of a lesser included. That's a deprivation of rights, which did result in bodily injury. He was convicted of a conspiracy and of the obstruction charges as well. So he's certainly the most culpable of the 3, according to jurors at least, but still very disappointing when you had 2 of the other officers that pleaded guilty, that testified against these 3. We've all seen the video footage. I mean, one of the most disturbing videos I have ever seen, but apparently the jurors, they brought the defense argument that police officers were dealing with someone that was resisting, that was under the influence of drugs, that they didn't receive the proper training. I'm not saying I agree with the defense's argument, but clearly it did resonate with some of the jurors. And frankly, it just goes to show how difficult it is to convict police officers in this country.
Help me understand that idea that 2 pled guilty. So there were 2. Did they plead to a charge that then these officers ended up being acquitted of?
Yes, and we're talking about officers who are still facing state charges as well. So obviously there's Ben Crump. You have the family's attorney. I'm sure they're going to be very disappointed with this verdict. But
it's been a long journey for our family.
And in terms of an appeal, I mean, that would seem to be a possibility. Do you think there's any grounds on that, or does it kind of go back to your... Go ahead.
You know, the government, it's very difficult for them to appeal a not guilty verdict. There's very few circumstances where they can do that. Once the jury has spoken against the government, in this case against the prosecution, they're stuck with that verdict. Now, because of the dual sovereign doctrine, these officers may still face justice in state court. We've seen that in other racially motivated cases. Of course, the victim here was African American, so were the officers, but we've seen cases like that, Derek Chauvin and George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery's killers in Georgia as well. So occasionally the feds and state prosecutors will prosecute cases simultaneously. It doesn't violate double jeopardy because they're dual sovereign. So I think maybe these officers will really face the justice that they deserve in state court, where they are facing murder charges.
On that civil rights charge, what would the standard have been that the officers were acquitted so it means the prosecution didn't meet that standard? But in terms of helping us understand why they would have been acquitted, what would the test have been that was necessary to get a conviction, and why do you think they didn't?
Well, it has to be a violation of a clearly established constitutional right. So in this case, it would be Nichols's right to be free from excessive force. And, the question here was this someone who was fleeing? Was this someone who was resisting arrest? Did the officers go, outside their training? And there was a lot of discussion of this Scorpion unit there in Memphis. And did the officers act as vigilantes or a gang? And so I think that's something that, whether it was their training or lack thereof, that must have resonated with the jurors, because they apparently didn't find, with at least two of these officers, that there was any constitutional violation whatsoever. And it was just covering up after the fact. So it is a high burden to prove that violation. And obviously we know that jurors love police officers in this country, and ultimately prosecutors weren't able to get there.
If you're convicted of covering up, or at least partially covering.
So there you see, ultimately, nothing has came about. These gentlemen are actually still out to this day. They're still awaiting a trial date. They were supposed to have a trial date in last year in December. That still hasn't happened. The gentleman, one of the actual police officers, were actually brought into jail again under charges of threatening and trying to have retaliation to the family. So kind of want to have this discussion because y'all are very quiet, and I want to have the discussion about, like, because we love to talk about things, but this is people who look like each other, like, and this is why I always try to speak about the system, because it's about the system, right? The same system that we're talking about in Mississippi is the same system that's taken up for these 5 Black officers in Memphis, Tennessee. So how do we combat this? How do we have the discussion about this before we get to the chat?
He said that they obviously have a love for police officers in this country. I say, was it love, or are they in fear of retaliation? You know what I mean? Like, if you can see that this has been happening, and this officer goes back to work, and this one gets suspended, and this one goes back to work, and they leave of absence, and this one goes back to work. Be like, man, I can't even, you know what I mean? What do? Do we go and get jurors from other counties, other jurisdictions to come in and be jurors to finally convict these officers of their heinous crime? They beat that boy like that. This system is tainted all the way around to where you can't even hold the powers to any standard. They got us in fear. But in fear of who? Because if it's the system and it's the powers that be, then we're just subjects. We're just subjects, bro. We're just a number. We're expendable. It's just hoping that it's not your time when that time comes. This is despicable. This is absolutely despicable.
Does policy need to change?
I think a lot of things need to change, and that's why I wanted to have the conversation. That's why I'm asking you guys, because I'm always a facts on facts person, very even keel, balance both sides. I don't try to throw race and this, and because we have so many situations just like this every day. So where do we draw the line? Where do we say this is what we need the outcome to be? Like, what does the outcome need to be? Like, are we now just taking acceptable losses? Is everything?
That's what it seems.
Go ahead. Yeah, is everything just about clicks? Is everything just for people to get their page popping for the time being? Because at the end of the day, we're not speaking about the true outcome, right? Because a payday doesn't bring a life back, and that's, to me, that's the. And I heard what Rain said earlier, and I think it's one of those things too that we have to really start speaking. What do the families truly want? Because if we know that Ben Crump role is not to bring the ultimate decision, right? So how do we find another Ben Crump in another area who does bring justice? You see what I mean? Like, how do we pilot that? How do we bring that next Ben Crump that's in the level that's going to bring justice. Because at this point, we're almost saying it's a toe tag price for our family members and friends.
Yeah. Well, that's why here on No Middleman, we do have 3 different perspectives. You know, it's going to be some emotion. There's going to be some logic. There's going to be some facts, trying to get to a certain understanding. But with this, it's like these particular cases that we cover on this channel on a regular basis, it's like it's really putting you in a position to say, not what we're gonna do, is a what can we do. And that's what I think everybody that tunes in, we come to that conclusion, like, what can we do? Because there's more that won't. There's more that won't that will. Like to bear arms and go and storm the Capitol. You know what I mean? Like, everybody saw, man, that was crazy, man. They did that. Was it? Everybody felt like that was wrong because maybe the color, or because, you know, or people really was trying to take their government back. Now you see what's happening. What if they seen it beforehand? And now you see what's happening now. Now, should we be a J6? Because you see what's happening. We're consistently under attack. We're consistently under attack. And I'm talking about the American people. It's not just the black folks, white folks, Spanish. It's everybody. We're all under attack. Now they're trying to attack our water supply. It's more than it's a in totality situation. This has gotten out of control. We got to take our government back.
What's your thoughts, Rain?
I think somewhere down the line has to be some kind of policy change, especially when it comes to these officers who go overboard on these traffic stops, especially in a case like Tyre Nichols. So when these officers were arrested, when these charges were brought up against these officers, I think it should have gone to a different location, out of that jurisdiction where nobody knows them. Period.
My thing is this, though. So right now, the world is covering a case that has 0 evidence.
Right.
Like not saying that it's not evidence out there. It's just there's no question right now. Nobody really has a definitive answer of what happened, right? From the evidence we're giving. But then you'll have a case like this where it's all there in front of you. The excessive force is there. Everything they did was all on body cam. And we're still getting the same results from a person who has 0 evidence to a person who you can see every piece of evidence.
It's just like a slap in the face.
But is it a slap in the face, or have we just started to accept this? Because again, I was on the platform when this happened. Like, a bunch of people did not cover this Memphis police officer case. This wasn't even the people you want to talk about, like even the popular people, like they weren't covering this. You know what I mean? Like, even myself, I started covering it after seeing it on Millionaire Morning Show. My response to it was a reaction video to what I seen and watched. And I understand what everybody's saying about, like, everybody got these sayings and they kept the files and colorblind is just blind. No, we're not talking about that at this point, because this case has nothing to do with that. This case is 5 black men killed another black man, and they supposed to be in the line of duty. So my question is, are we just accepting, like, kind of like what Plug was just saying, are we just taking acceptable losses? Because at that point, if you're not here to talk about questions, or you're not here to bring any solutions, you almost fall into the grifter error. You know what I mean? So we'll get to some of these comments, and then we'll get on to the last segment of this. And then Rain actually has a very good on the radar that probably talks about how we could one of the first steps to taking care of this, or at least getting some moves on there. So
Penny said, first of all, bro, you out of shape breathing that hard. Take several seats, sir. Super Mac said at LP, laughing. Little Penny. Super Mac said he needs some milk. Penny said, if y'all didn't spend that unnecessary energy roughing up the young man, you might have had the energy to run after him. Shaking my head. Super Mac said the description got me slim build, young black, explained the breathing. He was not ready. Penny said the worst part is he was complying. Big Sco was in the building. He dropped the umbrellas, the plug outlets and all that stuff. He said, not got the red light special. He done changed it now. Plug said, yeah, Sco. Sco said, I see the studio coming together. It's looking good. Supermax said 26. If you recognize the similarities, same old story, prove that you as the dominant economic and political force is not actively still stalking and killing our youth. You can't. Uncle Plus said, thank you. Richard said a PSU, I think it was, is a provider of electricity. The motherboard just uses it to distribute electricity evenly to all connected devices in need of some. Uncle Plus said no jail time. Plus said 3 black cops and 1 black victim. Uncle Plus said that's bad business. Was there any drugs in his system? I don't think so. Not anything that I read about. It's insulting. Penny said it's insulting that we can march and protest, throwing the first punch, but are nowhere to be seen when it comes to finishing the fight. Not much of the threat, just smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Penny, when you coming up? I'm gonna say it every time, Penny. Uncle Plus said, come on the scene. Crump on the scene. You got money. Uncle Plus said, and that's it. No justice. Miley said, I feel like with this case, they look at it from law enforcement instead of justice. They are trying these cases where the police served. They need to move all of these cases out of the jurisdiction. I agree, Miley. She said, I have said this before, but we are under attack and the justice system is corrupt. Supermax said, colorblind is just blind. We kept the file souls and the results been in. Them is them, even when it's us. Why do these black cops think it's okay to kill us? Not a question. Penny says, civil rights justice has been diluted to media prostitution. Answers and justice reside in other places that never get the spotlight. Uncle Plus said, who can we trust when it comes to policy change?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good
question.
Supermax said, control is going to affect everyone negatively. But who wields majority control? Again, not a question. We have the answer souls and the codes. Ask Classic for a copy of the files. Uncle Plus said, who wore a badge? Penny said, policy and jurisdiction won't matter if universal corruption is supported by authoritative unity. The government is always right. Uncle Plug said, definitely corruption. Plug said, executive branch, legislative branch, and judicial branch. Penn said, the people are supposed to check the government and we are failing. The government has to be bought and sold.
Yeah.
Richard said, I'm not trading. I'm trading not to be rude. The other kids are dumb. The one I got is smart. Excuse me, y'all. Uncle Plug said, all corrupt. What do we do? Superman said, Classic said, remember the police started as slave catchers. Superman said, not them and Uncle Plug.
So we're going to move on to the final part of the Tyre Nichols. And this is going to be the segment for the Justice and Family Residue ongoing trials for Tyre Nichols. So here we go.
Beating of a man by It's been 3 years since the deadly beating of a man by Memphis police officers. People remember Tyre Nichols last night at a candlelight vigil. Officers pulled him over in 2023 on suspicion of reckless driving. He ran after he was pulled over. Nichols was then pepper sprayed, beaten, and hit with a taser. He was hospitalized and died from his injuries 3 days later. His mother and father both spoke last night at a vigil.
3 years later, and we still don't have any justice for my son. The whole world saw what happened to my son. I can't continue to live like this. We need justice so that we can heal.
All I can do is hope and pray that this year, all this will be over with.
Say it to the mic.
But you know what? Even if it is over with, next year we'll be right back here.
5 former Memphis police officers charged for their involvement in Nichols' death. Last year, 3 of them were found not guilty on state charges, but a U.S. district judge has since approved a request for new trials for the 3 men. The other 2 officers involved pleaded guilty and testified against the 3 who maintained their innocence. A 6th officer was also fired, but not charged. He was hospitalized and died from his injuries 3 days later. His mother and father both spoke last night at a vigil.
3 years later, and we still don't have any justice.
So there you have it from the mother's mouth. 3 years later, and we still have no justice. And I think this is going to be the theme of the series. You guys are going to see a lot of cases that started very loud and end very quietly. We get on here and we want to have all these one-liners and we want to have all these funny things to say, but we're not helping the families at all. This is a mother, a family, a father who now have residue from a crime. Yeah, they got a check. But you know what that check goes towards? Everybody that they're still trying to use to fight to find justice for their son. And that's the questions I'm asking. I'm tired of all this rhetoric and everybody cracking this. And no, we're not cracking anything because we're ending with the same result. So are we okay with the acceptable losses? And if that's the case, we should stop covering these things. You should talk about it and leave it alone. Because if you don't want to follow through, what's the point of getting everybody else up in an uproar? What's the reason for judging everybody and causing more division if you really don't want justice for the family? Because this young lady just told us that 3 years later, and they still are seeking justice. I don't know about y'all, but if somebody was on my team fighting for my child, I would like you to be at every vigil I do, every anniversary.
Yeah.
So how do y'all feel about this? Because this is the ultimate thing, the unfinished business after the headlines go, because y'all are going to see a lot. Even the next case that we cover tonight, y'all are going to see that it's a lot of families out here still hurting, still trying to get justice, still trying to find some answers. So what are we trying to do? I just want to be part of the solution.
Let me ask you a question. When someone like a Ben Crump comes in and he hits you at a time where everything is so emotional,
yeah,
and you're downtrodden and you're distraught because of a loss of a loved one, what happens when you tell him, nah, we good, you can go and get up out of here, man? What you think happens after that? Like, because like, let's just,
go ahead.
Because like in this recent case, he's there and we still a month later, nothing. You know what I mean? Like nothing, like no new evidence. Like, no, there's a turn in the story. Oh, everybody hyped up. Like, it's nothing. Like, it's nothing. Like, for me to hear folks say, oh, that's my best friend. That's my best friend. Oh, that's my son. That's my son. Like, The next day, everybody was eating breakfast. The next day, people are, focusing on making arrangements. You know what I mean? While all that's going on, like, who fights for the people who has to go and still do the normal things to bury a person? Do you know all that goes in? You got to find it, find the price, if the person had insurance or didn't have insurance, like all that's going on. Who are really in these people corners while all this is going on? Because that's a lot to take it. And then to have them murdered, and then have to do all that. It's even difficult when someone dies from natural causes or illness or disease. So who does all of that? What happens if you tell a Ben Crump, nah, man, get your ass out of here. We good. We know what you here for. And we ain't looking for that. We looking for justice. What happens? I wonder what I would really love to see what that conversation looks like as he's doing his pitch.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think about it now, Plug. Do you really need a Ben Crump? We got 6 million of them on YouTube. we got 6 million people who got all the answers on YouTube. You literally can pick a content creator you want to be your Ben Crump. Because some of these content creators are getting more move and more answers and more interviews than what Ben Crump is getting. So, what's your thoughts about this? Especially being a mother yourself, there, Miss Rain. What is your thoughts about this?
I think about it often. Even though my son's only 10, he's about to be 11. I think about it often because he's about to go. Once he starts driving, I think about it. Even though he's biracial, he looks black. I think about it. I think about how I'm gonna have to have that talk with him about what he needs to do if he's ever pulled over. I think that comes across my mind more often than not, actually, especially in doing things like this. Being on here, talking about it actively, just knowing that the world will see him differently than I do. So it's tough.
Say that again.
The world will see him differently than I do.
And I think that's the biggest issue we have.
Yeah.
That's the biggest issue we have when we're covering 90% of these cases.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to have the answers and nobody wants to see the real side of what's really going on. That's why we don't like to stick to facts. We don't like to stick to the evidence of what we're being shown. Is because people don't understand that, right? Like that mother, Miss Nichols, is looking for answers. She's looking for justice. She's no longer on the hamster wheel of everybody speaking about her son because she did that for 3 years already. So, man.
I do want to say that even though the outcomes of the Tyre Nichols case is not what we want or what we think should have happened, there is a process and everything. I know we're talking about grifters and the unfinished business after the trials or after the headlines and whatnot, but there's still a process. I will say that Ben Crump and his attorneys did file a $550 million federal lawsuit that's still pending. Of course, dollar signs don't bring back our lost loved ones. Dollar signs don't make up for any of that. But with that being said, with these civil lawsuits being filed, where can policy change? After these civil lawsuits are filed and it's said and done, and the verdicts are either won or lost, where does the policy change come from? How do we, as these common folks out here in these streets, get policy change? So,
yeah, but I think it starts with us, right? It starts with us because we are the loudest voices today. Um, we are. I mean, you see it on the town halls. I mean, you got thousands and thousands of people watching for hours and hours on end. You know what I mean? And everybody really wants reality. You know what I mean? Everybody's tired of the grifters who are just pulling at your what they call it, pulling at your coattails, getting you all emotionally riled up, telling you all the obvious things out there. So it's just one of those things, man, that I think we have a lot more power. We have to see our power. You know what I mean? Like we have to see how powerful our voices are. You will eventually find the people who want to team up with you to do the things that you're trying to pursue. And I think we have to just be patient and steadfast in that. Um, and I think too, you know, it might sound crazy to people today, but a lot of us need to start running for these seats. And these 20,000 people that are watching you on YouTube should be 20,000 people voting for you when it's time for you to take your office seat. Like, like we need to start using these platforms as leverage. We need to start leveraging our platforms. Like to me, if you're willing to come on here and talk about it and get people all riled up, you should be the same person ready to go take a chair and go put some stuff on black and white and create some policies, create some change in your local community or on a bigger political level. Because again, I mean, there's people. Shoot, Nancy Grace getting 2 million people watching. You know what I mean? Why don't she go take a seat if you feel so strongly about everything that's happening? I think we now are going to have to start putting our money where our mouth is, to be honest with you. So. You muted, right?
Yeah, I seen the thing flash up. So, ooh. Auntie Stella said, "Are there any other lawyers on either side demanding all surveillance camera footage?"
I think she might be speaking about Nolan Wells.
Mm-hmm. Richard said, "Not gonna lie, she carrying y'all right now. Y'all usually be going in up last night." Richard, what you talking about?
He talking about
Penny
you.
said, oh, Penny said, "So why are we still praising Crump and others as being effective tools for justice?"
I don't. I never have.
Real ice out. Appreciate you coming in. If this is your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the like button and whatnot. I appreciate what y'all are doing so we aren't divided, so that we aren't divided. That's what they want, divide and conquer.
Thank you, Real Ice Out.
Supermax said a system set up to deny us justice racially first, then financially, and then downhill from there. So no Messiah is coming. It's up to us.
Thanks.
Penny said we as black folks don't put a high enough value and price on black blood. So why do we expect others to?
You can't bring that up, Penny. People don't. That's another conversation. Nobody likes to talk about that.
Penny said 15 minutes of fame for 15 minutes of life. Expensive trade-off. Mrs. V said 100. Mighty said we need to keep the ones lost in the spotlight, even if people do a follow-up once a year to keep their names alive.
Yes, ma'am.
Supermax said Rain, they will see him as black, and that is dangerous. Uncle Plug said when pulled over.
Shut the F up.
Just be quiet. Uncle Plug said 550K. What was 550K, Plug?
That's what you said about what they paid for the investigation.
I said K?
I think.
I thought I said $1 million. Real said can't handle the truth. Uncle Plug said 30 million. Real said dead on. Uncle Plug said get life insurance on your children and siblings. Everyone.
Crazy to think about that, huh, Plug? Crazy to think about that. Yeah.
Got to. Because that's the only way you can stop them boys from doing that. Because when the insurance companies start calling and talking about, hey, man, hey, we paying out so much money for all these lost lives.
Penny said, why is $550 million appropriate if the U.S. government don't get out of bed for our own $38 trillion debt? Superman said, Rain's Second Amendment is for policy change, allegedly. Penny said, the police not paying it. It's just coming out of our own back pockets, and they return to work like nothing happens. Superman said, Penny, facts. Penny said, Nancy Grace got 2 million people watching, but not talking about anything. Double talk. Caught her in it live. We caught her in it. Superman said, there is no such thing as government funded. The people fund the government.
Yep. Definitely agree with that.
Richard said they think I'm a teacher. No, he's smart. I just know all the things he hasn't learned yet.
Richard.
Mighty said, how do you fix a corrupt government when the government was built on death and destruction?
Maria, I want to answer that. And I think this is what's always missing when people hear myself speak. We don't need to fix the government. We need to fix ourselves. We are the common denominator. We as people, period. We as people are the common denominator. When we choose to take back control, things will be taken back under control. We just have to take control. We can't fix the system, but the one thing you can fix is yourself. And what Plug said, it's not popular to people. Hey, when you get pulled over, shut the F up. Man, you telling me I can't even speak, man? Well, all right.
Shut up. Shut up. That's the one thing that gets everything set up. Like people just like all the videos I see is as soon as they get pulled. Why I get pulled over? Man, listen. Shut up. Dog, get that man that license and registration. Let him go and do what he was gonna do, and go on about your business. Real talk. All that trying to talk and get your point across. Oh man, this you abusing my rights. This, that, and the third. Man, that don't end well. Man, don't even talk to this dude, man. Man, just give him that as soon as he pull up. Give it to him. Do you know why I pulled you over? No. You want to tell me? Nah. Okay. It is what it is, whether you're going to get a citation or not. And people say, no, man, you wrong, man, you laying down. No, that's what you're supposed to do and lay down. You going to lay down or you going to lay down with your hands behind your back? It's a green light. I keep saying, does it feel like it's a green light? Nobody say, yeah, man, it feel like a green light. Nobody say that. I ask that question almost every other night. Does it feel like a green light? Nobody answers that.
I think it's hard to answer it because of what you just said too, though. Because you said one thing, but then you're asking another thing. Because you're saying if more people cooperated, how would we would know if it's a green light or not? Because we don't see a lot of cooperation.
You don't see no cooperation.
You see what I mean? So it's hard to say it's a green light when people aren't cooperating. I feel like if you cooperated, kind of like Nichols. He was complying. He was cooperating. He was trying his best to, you know what I mean? And they were beating on him, tasing him. You know what I mean? Like, so like, it's hard to answer your question if we don't see 50 to 60% of cases of cooperation. Because y'all remember when we covered the young man who was punched in the face? Y'all remember when we covered that on Middleman? The young man that was sitting in his
that busted one. Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like, it's just so much we haven't seen cooperation. So it's hard for me to answer your question. I'll be answering your question without having legitimate facts. But Supermac feels like it's a green light. So you got one.
Penny said they was to start.
Well, got
Penny said they would just start declining life insurance instead. Mama V with the praying hands. Appreciate you, Mama V. Superman said, at Marty, Second Amendment allegedly. Richard said, I hope y'all know laws not even real. They just look real. You see the truth in that drowning case. Mrs. V said, free will is a hell of a thing. Word is bond.
Tell them.
Penny said, can't take control if we can't figure out who's in charge. Everyone likes to be heard, the loudest, useless in the room, useless voice in the room.
Yeah.
Myself together.
But that's what we are attracted to, Penny. We're attracted to the most boisterous person, the most outgoing personality, the person that you would consider alpha because they loud. Like that's what we're attracted to. We're not attracted to the person who's sitting there actually taking in the information. Kind of like today, like I know Plug now get tired of me in the chat, but like I was responding to everything they said. Like everything they said, I responded to it, but it's not what people want to hear. But I'm hearing what you're saying. So if you tell me if we had an all-black government and Doe said, yeah, man, if we had like another, like some Obamas, and I'm like, well, Obama brought LGBTQ. But if we had this, this person did this. So I'm telling you the cons of the person. It don't sound popular, but I'm just telling you like those aren't good examples. You know what I mean? I'm just responding to what you're giving me. You know what I mean? We can have the overarching conversation, but you're giving me bits and pieces. And I think that's what we have to start being comfortable with. We have to be comfortable with pushback. Just like people push back at me, you just got to be comfortable with pushback to have the full conversation. Because ultimately we'll get to the full conversation. So it's just very unique. I think we can take a lot of control.
Richard said because law's not real. Trump just said the craziest thing you could say and nobody addressed him and belittled him. Marty said, how do we band together when there's so much dissension in the nation?
What did Trump say? I mean, I missed it.
I don't know.
I don't even know.
He stays saying something crazy.
But it's a book I tell you guys about all the time. Behold the Pale Horse. I highly again encourage y'all to go read it. The book talks about that.
If you can find it.
Yeah, the book talks about that, about the laws and how people can like literally create laws. Like there's things that the president just can do without anybody needing to sign off on it. Like it's written. It's already written. A lot of this stuff is already written down.
Penny said, light has been green since Africa, brother. I'll say it for you, Unc. Souls, you know this, regardless of compliance. Marty said, we were not included when those amendments were written. Supermax said, Penny added again with the facts. Richard said, not just a joke and two-worded answer. Back Trump in the corner and question him 30 minutes straight in like court and make him answer and look stupid. Supermax said, at Mighty, we included now. Mighty said, are we really, Supermax?
But you know what's funny, Supermac and Mighty? You're included now because that's the first thing you guys cry out for. That's what I be trying to. I know everybody want to hear it a certain way, but that's why I always tell people. I think BG said it in your chat today, Plug. He said you gotta what's the word he used? He said you have to do something and then you have to strategize to. He said something, man. I forgot. He said something very powerful about gathering together and then moving. And I think that's the problem, right? Like we keep saying that we weren't here for the amendments. We keep saying that the system is this. But every day when something happens to us, the first thing we rely on is the system. Benjamin Crump is part of the system. Civil rights court is part of this. Like everything that we rely on is part of the system. And that's why I keep saying we have to take control in our own hands. I know it sounds crazy to people, man, but I'm telling y'all, it's millions and millions and billions of people, man, watching content all day. You give that $1 to that family from every person. That's your autopsy. That's everything you need. We have the power. We just don't see it the way that some people see it.
That is supposed to be seen.
Yeah.
The way that it's supposed to be seen. All right. You like this person? All right, but let's go and fund that person going up there and being a representative for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like but we also gotta pay for his security.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna need almost a militia to step foot. Because if there's any pushback from the government that actually works for us, if we try to go into one of these meetings to a government that actually works for us, there will be pushback as if they don't work for us.
Yeah.
So we can have these discussions on a regular basis, and we can gather up all the funds, but you better come deep and you better be scrapped. Because soon as you do build a force or an army like that, guess what's going to happen? There's going to be somebody's coming in to, what is it called? Intercede, or somebody who's in the group that's going to be giving away information.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need numbers, because they're going to call numbers.
Yeah.
You're not just, and you can't go up there unarmed, because the ones that's coming for you will be armed. And you can't go armed, because the ones that come, they're going to say you're armed and dangerous. And I'm not just saying this to put fear in your heart. I'm telling you the reality of the situation. Not just the conversation or the pushback or two sides to a coin. It's when we strategize and we do mobilize, guess what's going to happen? They're going to come strong. So who's willing to die for the cause? Because it's going to take some lives. It's going to take some lives. And who's willing to die for it? There's some dudes that ain't willing to fight for their family. They ain't going to throw a fist. They ain't going to throw a slap. Now you're talking about getting how many you're going to need? At least 200. And that takes money.
But you know what's funny? Funny? Plus, sorry to cut you off though, because
no, it's cool.
There is a group of men who don't even see it the way y'all see it, and they have everything that you would need. The Nation of Islam.
Man.
No, I'm just saying, every war doesn't end the way that we're trying to like verbalize it. Everything doesn't need to be you going to arm and body for a body. Every war doesn't have to be that way. You see what I mean? Like they're
how are they moving?
They're building their own ecosystems. They support each other.
Yeah.
Like brother Ben X came here to Dallas, Texas, and built a whole community. They have a whole town. You can go look it up right now on YouTube. Like they have their own town. They got gardens. They got stores and nutrition plate. Like that's what I'm saying. Like we are trying to fight against a bigger machine instead of creating our own machine. Like when Supermac was saying you got to have a military mindset, but people don't accept a military mindset because a military mindset doesn't move off of emotions. It doesn't move off of just body for a body. A military person like myself, we move off of principles and we're strategic. So like, and that's never what y'all really want. That mindset is Coon mindset. That mindset is Uncle Tom mindset. So we don't even want the militant way, because the militant way is a systematic way. So
Mighty said,
go ahead.
Mighty said, the system has failed me numerous times. I do not rely on the broken system. I am looking for people with like-minded ideas that are ready to not only have the conversation, but also has action. Penny said, we have the right to remain silent, but never use it. Supermax said, there's going to be some bodies in a full sentence. Penny said, you build a force, we give them a reason to exterminate us. Penny said, chess, not checkers.
Thank you, Rain, for the jewels, ma'am.
Welcome. Supermax says, sure, it's cool. Stop, plug TV. Save that last thought. I hear you thinking, though. Supermax said, we've tried to go it on our own. Tulsa.
Got to keep trying. I never seen somebody who stopped trying. So we're going to move on to our next segment, better known as the Radar with Rain.
Soft rain got Alabama grace all in the spirit. Yeah. Georgia roots in the soul every time you hear it. Yeah.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to On the Radar with Rain. There is something happening with traffic enforcement across the country that caught my attention. And honestly, I think it's a conversation worth having. Does every traffic violation really need to result in a police stop? So right now, Denver is asking that question. Police there have already shifted away from initiating certain low-level traffic stops, and now city leaders are considering making some of those restrictions permanent. And now, when I say low level, I'm talking about things like expired registration, certain equipment violations, and other issues that don't necessarily mean somebody's driving dangerously. Um, so now here's what is interesting. Recent reporting shows that after Denver changed its approach, traffic stops dropped significantly. And according to the city data report by Axios, between January 22 and March of 26, approximately 75,600 traffic stops ended without a citation being issued. So that's 75,000 traffic stops, no citations. A stop ending without a ticket does not automatically mean the officer didn't have a legitimate reason to make the stop, though. So sometimes you get a warning. Sometimes an officer investigates something and determines there is nothing there. So I can't sit here and tell you that 75,000 people were stopped for no reason, but that's enough to make us ask some questions as well. I absolutely do believe that police should enforce traffic laws. If somebody is driving drunk, pull them over. If somebody's driving recklessly, pull them over. If somebody's especially flying through a school zone, of course, yes, pull them over. If somebody else is putting somebody else's life in danger, or if your driving's doing that, I don't have a problem with police intervening because that's called public safety. But where I start questioning things is when we're talking about violations that aren't creating an immediate danger, like a broken tail light, an expired registration, certain equipment violations. Do these things need to be addressed? Of course, but does addressing them always require an armed officer standing beside somebody's car on the side of the road? You know, I'm not convinced that it does because we have technology now. Some violations can potentially be handled with mailed notices, automated systems, warnings, or requirements to correct tonight is Monday, y'all. To correct the problem within a certain amount of time. And if doing that means officers have more time to deal with reckless drivers, violent crime, DUIs, and situations where somebody actually needs law enforcement, then I think that's worth exploring. So you can go ahead and run the video. So
talking about low-level stops.
And what they prioritize are not the same thing in Denver.
Putting Chief Thomas's existing policy into ordinance.
Denver Police Chief Ron Thomas implemented a policy in 2024 that limits low-level traffic stops, such as expired registration, a cracked taillight, or improperly displayed plates. Instead, he tells his officers to prioritize safety violations and crime, like speeding, running red lights, and DUIs. City Council is now considering making that policy permanent.
These are minor violations that do not pose a threat to public safety.
City Council member Paul Cashman cited research from a variety of academic and public policy institutes that found low-level stops waste police resources, do little to improve safety, and disproportionately affect drivers of color.
Nationally, the data shows that police are more likely to pull over people of color for these low-level traffic offenses.
Jill Locantori is with the Transportation
Get out the street, Rain.
advocacy group called Denver Streets Partnership. She raised many of the same concerns the proposal aims to address.
We've got a crisis of public trust in government.
The ordinance would also require DPD to give City Council reports detailing the type and reason for traffic stops. City officials said they couldn't determine why tens of thousands of drivers got pulled over.
Thank you for the presentation. And Councilman, as you know, I don't support this.
Councilmember Kevin Flynn says this is one of the reasons why he's opposed to it.
Because we don't have the data. And without the data, we shouldn't be putting this into the code. People are crying out for more traffic enforcement, not less.
Jill says with this proposal, public safety is the priority.
We need to be asking, how do we spend our public taxpayer dollars in a way that's going to actually increase public safety. And pulling people over for cracked taillights is not it.
City Council.
So, what you got for us, Rain?
So what do y'all think about this? Having, my thing is, we got all these, you know, if I let my
For these
tag expire, right? If I let my tag expire and I don't go come get it within, or I don't renew it within like a 10-day grace period or whatever the grace period is before they start putting like late fees on it, send me a citation in the mail. That'll light a fire up under me. Why are you pulling me? Why are you pulling me over?
Because you're white, Rain. That's why it lights a fire under you. You could send us a ticket and a fine in the mail for 385 days.
And they gonna be paid.
Now that we don't want to pay it.
But no, I think like simple offenses like the cracked tail light or and even safety issues, of course, you know, running a stop sign, running a red light, things like that, or you know, reckless driving, DUI, stuff like that. Yes, absolutely, by all means, pull them over. But
I ain't paying for that. No, I want see everything that our tax dollars go for. I want to sit in the room and say, no, I don't want to pay for that. Okay, we're gonna take you off the list. Uncle Plug, we're gonna take you off the list. All right, cool. Until I agree with what my tax dollars is going, I ain't paying for that.
But I think also he's a perfect example of what happens when we start getting into the rooms, right? Because this police chief is a black police chief in one of the most whitest cities out there. We all know about Denver, Colorado now because of Coach Prime. So we know that the majority of the people there are white. But now you have a black man who's noticing that his people are being affected by his police officers, and he's trying to make change. You got to get more of that. And I'm not saying every black person you put into a spot is going to be legit, because we got some crooked ones too, just like we got crooked white folks. But at the same time, the more of us that can get into these powerful seats, because I remember, I forgot, somebody asked me about when we had the question posed about what should we do, and I always told people that's what I did in the military. I made rank, I moved up so I could be somebody who can make decisions. That's what life is about. Plug is his own boss because he can now make his own decisions. And you know what else he can do because he can make his own decision? He can bring another person underneath him now. If he wanted to, if he chooses to. And that's the reason why we need to become power players. We aren't power players. Like we depend on all our athletes and these millionaires. We need normal day-to-day average Americans who truly care about what's going on in their community every day into powerful positions.
And that's when I was talking about the wealth. When you talk about the wealth and the wealth gap, when you have money equals time, time equals money. And that's just the way things go. And if you have people who are doing right by their money, investing their money, the more people we have doing that who are in a position who makes enough money to do these things, not the ones who are not in a position to do these things, the ones that are in a position. It's just like, I'm looking at life like now. Remember back when COVID first started and everybody was doing all these susu boards, all these little susu groups, you know, where they was taking, you know, oh, you put in 100, you put in 100, you put in 100. Now you go get two people and you put in 100, and then boom, this person get paid out. Then with that money you got paid out, you got to put money back in and bring someone else in and keep that going. We need to do that in real life to help everybody get to where they need to be. If you know that they don't have enough money to do it, then invest for them. Get them to a position, and then when they get in a position, give your money back. And then so you take that money, don't pocket it, go help another one. And then when they're in the position, go help another one. Because that's the only way that we're going to create the time to be able to be in the position to go into these rooms that they're having these meetings on Tuesday when you know you have to be at work. They're circling us. And we need to get in a position, a financial position, in order to free up that time in order to do these things. It's sacrifice. We need a tribe. And that tribe can start with just 3 and just build into 6, 9, 12, 15. Man. I want this so bad. I want it so bad. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of what the government doing. You know, I'm sick of what's happening to us.
Yeah,
because they taking us up
I
through
agree,
that.
bro. I definitely agree. Great segment, Rain. Great segment.
And that's
I'm
what's on the
sorry,
record,
Rain.
y'all. What you say sorry for, bud?
I said I'm sorry, baby. I ain't mean to take your one. What's the name?
No. That's
I'm
what
sorry.
look, that's what we're here for. So that's what's on the radar. Do we need all these traffic stops? If y'all are catching this on the rewatch, make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe, and leave your thoughts down in the comment section. I am Rain, and this is On the Radar with Rain.
Soft rain got Alabama grace all in the spirit. Yeah. Georgia roots in the soul every time you hear it. Yeah.
All right. We just had a great radar with Rain, and y'all already know what it is, man. He got the new studio. We're sir.
I got one for you. Let's go.
We got the real spill with Plug.
The real spiel for the night is stewardship. Stewardship is the responsibility, management, and care of something that has been entrusted to you. Your money, your time, your relationships, talents, opportunities, influence, and responsibilities. Real spill. Everybody wants more, but the question is, what are you doing with what you already have? We ask for more money, more opportunities, more influence, better relationships, bigger platforms. But sometimes the blessing isn't being held back. Sometimes we're being tested on how we manage what we already have in our hands. That's stewardship. Stewardship is understanding that having something and knowing how to manage it are two completely different things. You can make a lot of money and still be broke. You can have a great relationship and still destroy it. You can have talent and never develop it. You can have an opportunity and waste it because you weren't prepared when it arrived. And you can have people who genuinely love you and lose them because you didn't appreciate them while they were there. See, stewardship ain't just about money. It's about how are you managing your time? How are you managing your emotions? How are you managing your relationships? How are you managing your opportunities? And how are you managing you? Because sometimes we're asking life to give us more when life is asking us to become more responsible enough to handle more. Don't just pray for a bigger house. Take care of the one you're in. Don't just ask for more money. Learn how to manage the money that you're making. Don't ask for loyal people while mistreating the loyal people already standing beside you. Don't ask for a bigger platform if you're not taking care of the audience that's already listening, because increase without stewardship becomes destruction. Sometimes the next level isn't waiting on another opportunity. It's waiting on another version of you. Take care of what you have. Develop what you've been given. Appreciate who's been in place in your life. And when it comes and when more comes, you'll actually be prepared to keep it. That's stewardship. That's real spill. Choose wisely and act accordingly.
Yes, sir, man. That was the real spill with Plug, with the word of the day being stewardship. That boy got more articulate as his studio got bigger. So great.
Boom, boom, boom. Let him shot.
Big buddy. I like it. We needed a laugh for the night, man. We got to laugh. Oh, we got to laugh for it. We got to laugh, man. Oh, no. Good stuff, man. I love that. I love that, man. I love the part when you say you got to take care of the audience that you have before you can get a bigger one, man. I like that. I really like that. That was a dope. The word of the day, man, for Real Spill with Plug with stewardship. Make sure y'all get. Is that from Principles?
Nah, that's from Plug.
Okay.
I love stewardship, boy. I love stewardship.
No, that's
me and my
super
dad
dope.
had a conversation. Me and my dad had a conversation about it. You know what I mean? And we was talking about certain, individuals in the family, within the family, and he was talking about, I know they want more, I know they want this, but they got to be mindful of what they already have. I'm like, yeah, they got to be mindful of what you already have and how you managing that. You want a better car, but you washing the car you have, taking care of the car you have, make sure regular oil changes and all that good stuff. Yeah.
I agree, man. So we're going to read some of these comments before we get on to the next story we have for y'all. So here we go. Take it away, Rain.
Supermax said, not saying stop trying, stop the
interloper
souls. Richard said, y'all can't tell me a judge can't make up time. They do it so slick. Enhancements, habitual criminal, consecutive sentences. If they can't make up laws, what's that?
That's true.
Supermax said, why must we pretend that we are not being actively hunted? It's a snake. It doesn't have to bite you. Penny said, can't pay for the tail light. Sure can't pay for the ticket.
Big facts.
Bridget said, we justifying being X'd out of a traffic stop. X'd out at a traffic stop. Who pops a baby? Penny said, the problem is we think rappers and athletes are power players.
They ain't.
No. Yeah. Richard says, shooting an infant is extreme racism. Mrs. V said, this is a great conversation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sco said, just plead the fifth of these high officials can't get away with it, so can we.
Big fact. Fauci.
Mrs. V said, 100. Supermax said, combination of the white power structure, seeing with your eyes, not condemning the race that is racism.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you all for the support, man. Thank you all for keeping the chat alive tonight. And now we're going to move on to our segment number 2. And we're going to be speaking about Mr. Daunte Wright. Here we go.
Chief of police both resigned today after a second night of protests. Of course, all of this is playing out just about 10 miles from where George Floyd was killed last year, and with the trial of former officer Derek Chauvin very much underway. The family of this weekend's victim, Daunte Wright, says it's not enough for the officers involved to resign. They want the now former officer to face criminal charges.
Say his name! Daunte Wright! They murdered my nephew. She killed my nephew.
So the now former police chief of Brooklyn Center PD said this week that he believes the former officer, Kim Potter, who's a 26-year veteran of the department, mistakenly discharged her firearm instead of her taser during the traffic stop. Well, Daunte Wright's death has not only sparked outrage and protest, it is raising many important questions about the circumstances that led up to his death.
And those questions include how and why a low-level traffic stop escalated so quickly. 9 News crime and justice reporter Matt Jablow looked into this today to get some answers.
It was Sunday afternoon in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, a suburb just outside Minneapolis. Police there say they pulled over 20-year-old Daunte Wright for having an expired license plate. A lot of people are now wondering if the stop was necessary or common. Scott Robinson is a 9 News legal analyst.
Police officers pull over people for expired license plates constantly, every day, all across the country. It's technically legal, but it certainly opens the door to discriminatory stops.
Police say after pulling Wright over, they found he had an outstanding warrant for a misdemeanor gun charge. At that point, they tried to arrest him, which has raised the question of why a warrant for a misdemeanor would lead to an arrest. Paul Taylor is a criminal justice professor at CU Denver.
Typically, in most jurisdictions, a warrant is an indication that a judge has ordered or a court has ordered that a person be brought before the judge. And a warrant typically results in arrest in most jurisdictions that I'm aware of, whether it's a misdemeanor warrant or it's a felony warrant.
And then there's the issue of the officer thinking she was firing her taser at Wright, when in fact she had grabbed her gun, so-called taser confusion. Professor Taylor wrote about the topic last year, naming about a dozen different cases of it throughout the country over the last 20 years. Taylor says the problem is that police officers' guns and tasers simply look and feel too much alike and are easily mistaken in high-pressure situations.
To fix these issues, we need a design change.
Professor Taylor says he fears that until those design changes are made and more safety measures are put in place, tragedies like the death of Daunte Wright will be repeated.
So there you have it, man, with Mr. Daunte Wright. I don't know if y'all remember former officer Potter, her first name was Kim Potter, was the one who took the life of Daunte Wright, allegedly mistaking her taser for a weapon. It's funny how Rain's radar and rain actually ties directly in and correlates with this story. Because the first question they were asking was, why was this typical stop? How did it become so violent? Why are we stopping people for such petty crimes? And it's very unique that even years ago, y'all, there was still somebody from Denver, Colorado, who was writing about this situation. So look how long it takes changes or for even people to get things moving forward when it comes to changing policies, trying to make changes. But what is your guys' thoughts about this situation? I know this was another one. I want to say we covered this as well before, but this is Mr. Daunte Wright. So his footage is the one of the former police officer pulling out her weapon instead of her taser.
She knew what she was doing. Okay, let me stop. Well, let me stop. Okay.
Yes, she did. You put that same utility belt on every day.
How heavy is a taser versus a handgun? I've never held on to a taser, so I don't know.
Not even close.
And how many pounds of force do you have to pull the trigger of a taser versus the trigger of a gun?
Now that I don't know. I don't know. I'm a grown man. I ain't never had a taser.
She knew how heavy that gun was in her hand. The coldness of the metal in her hand should have been different from the coldness of whatever that taser is compiled of.
Okay, let's ask this question. Let's pose this question, right? Let's pose this question, right? What is both weapons on the same side?
That's what I don't know.
It depends how you set up your utility belt.
Utility belt, right? So you should know where you put your utility belt. I can reach back and grab my clipper without looking.
And you're
I can reach back and grab my
veteran, 26
years.
You know where your stuff is. You know where.
Bitch, please. Let's be real. Go ahead.
So when she pulled him over initially, supposedly she was training too as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when she pulled him over for the violation for the tag, it was a tag, right? If I'm not mistaken.
You can just give your spiel. It's okay. She was already convicted.
Yeah. But what's a misdemeanor gun charge?
So she pulled him over for a gun, a warrant. Well, she found out, right? So I don't know if she was thinking in that mind frame, but he tried to run as well. With that, no, I'm not gonna say, but with that being said, he tried to run as well. But yet and still, that does not give her any reason to pull the trigger of a gun. All these people that are running, all these cases that we covered with people who are running away from a scene, are they wrong for running away? Absolutely. But yet and still, that officer is wrong for pursuing them with a firearm in the back or however they pursue them. And that they ultimately lose their life. If somebody's running away, you got to go find them later.
If he's running
If they're
away,
not threatening your life, you got to go find them later.
you got their car.
Was laying on the ground. There's so many of these cases out here, and it's ridiculous. Every time that I have ran across these cases where it irritates my soul when these person yes, they're a criminal, or they're allegedly a criminal. Yes, you're trying to arrest them for what they're doing, but they are running away. That does not give you any. They're not threatening your life. That does not give you any, and they're not threatening anybody else's life. They're running away. So why are you pursuing them and shooting them, ending their life?
I agree with you.
Alton Sterling, that broke my heart altogether. What happened with him? And I don't know. We're gonna cover that later on or whatever it was. But yeah, still all these different cases, it's the same thing. Oh, it was a mistake. Mistake? No. You took somebody's life.
When somebody's running away, you just left your car. You just left your whole car. I'm gonna take your car. 9 times out of 10, if you ran, you're gonna run somewhere close. We know who all you hang with. We'll just come and check you out later. But when we see you, now I'm telling you now, when we see you,
an extra charge.
You know what I'm saying? Now you got some extra charge. You know what I mean? Like going to jail for an extended amount of time is worse than you beat me up. You know what I'm saying? I would prefer you whoop me and let me go home than take me to jail. So I'm reaching on my utility belt, 26 years on the force. You don't know the difference between, like, I can't stand that. I cannot stand that excuse. That excuse is diabolical. You can't tell the difference. Put me in the room. I'll put this utility belt on the first time. Let me grab my pistol and let me grab a taser. Which one? They said, but you was in the heat. You was in the heat of the moment. You didn't know which one you was grabbing. Huh? You didn't know which one you was grabbing. Okay. All right, cool. I'm gonna let you rock with that. If that's what make you sleep at night, that will help you sleep at night. I'm not buying none of this. On this one, I'm not buying none of that. 26 years on the force, you know better. I'm telling you, the way they see us, that's what we said on the social media mindset. The way they see us is that what's got them in such a panic. And then the guy had him already. Why are you reaching for him? Go ahead, Souls.
No, y'all got it.
Richard said a professional shot someone by mistake. That's a mistake. Exactly. Uncle Plus said not a mistake intent. Penn said when you got cops who can't tell the difference between a weapon and a taser, you got a bigger problem than a warrant.
For real.
Richard said, get on out of here. Uncle Plus said, BS, you put that same utility belt on every day. Plus said, misdemeanor gun charges. What is that? Penny said, professor degree. Uncle Plus said, 26 years on the force. Richard said, guns feel like tasers. Stop that quick. They in different spots. Sco said, they hand those out in Illinois like it's nothing. Penny said, it isn't worth the ink it was printed on. Critical dummy skills. Sco said, but you know your gun laws are different than a lot of states. Penny said it's bright neon glow in the dark yellow. It's yellow. Mighty said they are supposed to be on opposite sides so things like this don't happen.
That's not always true, Mario. I don't know. I don't know who you're speaking to. Like, I don't know who you know, but I mean, I have family members who are police officers.
Mighty said you have all their information and their vehicle can't hide for long. I'm saying, Penny said, and they face on cam if the body cam is on. Penny said that excuse is boo-boo.
Yeah, that's why you will see a lot of police officers now wearing it on their vest. Yeah. So because nobody's truly training with their non-dominant hand, so they wouldn't put things that they need to use on their non-dominant side. But you know, I don't know much. But the biggest thing is, I think this is why I always tell people that you have to be very aware of laws, right? Because I agree with everything y'all are saying, right? Well, some of it, I don't agree with all, but some majority of it I agree with. With that being said, she knew exactly what to say when she made the accident, right? Think about this, y'all. They have written a study before this incident even happened in Denver, Colorado, about how a taser is built and feels the same way as a gun. And I know people don't think this happens, but people who are very highly intelligent know how to get themselves out of trouble before trouble strikes. So in the middle of her panicking where other people probably would have panicked, what's the first thing she said? Oh, I thought I pulled my taser. She already knew if I say it immediately, I can use it in the court of law. And now my attorneys can back, like, it sounds crazy to people. But people like that, they are aware of what's going on. They're aware. And then somebody with 26 years, I wouldn't trust them to be on the road. 26 years doesn't mean you wore that every day. Y'all just seen, we just watched last week in Austin, Texas, police officers stand in the middle of a hallway. The chief was standing there with a cell phone in his hand instead of a gun. Like, your time on service doesn't, the longer you're doing something, the less you actually do your job. I served 20 years in the military. My last 10 years, I barely did my job. I was in a leadership position. So the longer you're on the force, the longer you own the force, the less you do. I mean, that's just knowledge. The police chief is not out kicking in doors every day. So it don't matter that he been on the service for 35 years. He probably stopped putting his belt on every day for the past 15.
Damn.
So we gotta think about, again, I understand.
Free check.
It is. Check. It really is. He said the study was funded by Blue. I put my life savings on it. Oh, yeah. Definitely. But definitely no excuse for that. But we're gonna move on to the second part of this conversation tonight, which is actually the verdict and outcome. This is where I think most of the questions should have been asked right here.
Attorney Jeff Storms and Attorney Tony Aminucci. We have the honor of representing the parents of Daunte Wright and his family. They are very, very disappointed. They feel that very disappointed because they believe that there was no reason to have such consideration for the killer of their child. They believe that there is an apples to apples comparison. Many in the Twin Cities believe that.
Can y'all hear
that?
It's low.
Muhammad Noor,
I can hear it.
A black police officer who was convicted of a lesser charge of manslaughter 2, received a much greater sentence than this white woman who killed their son Daunte Wright. So it is an apples to apples comparison in their mind. They believe that in their heart, and they just don't understand why there was consideration given to the white police woman who killed the young black man, and not consideration given to a black police officer who killed a young white woman. They are trying to understand it. We're all trying to understand it. What we see today is the legal system in America in black and white. And we continue to fight for equal justice under the law. It can't just be a concept, it has to be real. And what they believe today was their son did not get the consideration that he deserved in this matter. At this time, Attorney Jeff Storms, Minnesota's own, will address you briefly. And Attorney Tony Ramanucci couldn't be with us today, but then you will hear from the parents of Daunte Wright, and then we'll try to take some of your questions.
So I apologize. This is an older film. I apologize if y'all couldn't hear because I could barely hear and I got my headset in. But that was Benjamin Crump speaking on behalf of the family. He spoke a lot about how they felt, not how he felt, which I think is very important for people to listen to when you're listening to people speak on your behalf. He kept saying how the family felt that it was not right, how the family felt that this wasn't what they wanted. He never spoke on how he felt about it truly. With that being said, how you guys feel about this? So Kim Potter actually didn't even get the highest sentence that she could have gotten. She could have got, it should have been like almost, man, I think it was like a 7-year sentence was the max. She ended up getting lowest case instead. She ended up serving 16 months of her 24 that they gave her. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this next video because it'll make more sense. It'll explain a little bit more and we'll be able to hear a little bit better. So here we go.
Because we have learned in the last half hour, the former Brooklyn Center police officer convicted of shooting and killing Daunte Wright during a traffic stop 2 years ago, released from prison early this morning.
Kim Potter has served 16 months behind bars. The remaining 8 months of her sentence, that'll be on supervised release. So our Pauline Lee live outside of the Shakopee Women's Correctional Facility because, Pauline, we've learned much more over the past few minutes here.
Yeah, that's right. So Kim Potter was released at about 4 o'clock this morning, and that was in large part, according to the facility officials here, because of her safety, as there were elevated concerns leading up to today with threatening comments, as well as potential violent protests outside of the facility, which we have not seen yet today. Of course, this case still remains very controversial here. Her release comes less than 2 weeks after the Wright family marked 2 years since Potter shot and killed him during a traffic stop. And remember, Potter argued she mistook her taser for her gun. Now, Potter will actually head to Wisconsin to serve out her remaining 8 months under supervised release, which is part of an agreement Minnesota has with states around the country. Now, she'll have to adhere to a number of conditions that includes regular contact with an agent assigned to her to oversee her supervised release. She must also comply to random unannounced visits, as well as searches of her property and regular drug and alcohol testing. And she also will not be able to buy any type of firearm or dangerous weapons. But new this morning, as of right now, Kim Potter is no longer here at the Minnesota Corrections Facility in Shakopee. She was released at 4 o'clock this morning, now headed to Wisconsin to serve out her supervised release.
And Pauline, just to be clear, she served 16 months behind bars. That's the law here in Minnesota. You get your sentence, you get 2/3 of it behind bars, and then the final third is that supervised release.
Yeah, those two terms are very similar, but they're different here in Minnesota. In fact, I asked the corrections facility here just what is the difference, but it really boils down to it's more of a legal issue than a practical one. So Minnesota uses a determining sentence. There really is no parole board here. Another way to look at it is parole supervision. That period is enforced by a parole board, whereas supervised release, that's enforced by the court. So slight difference, but here in Minnesota, we call it supervised release.
All right, our Pauline Lee, live versus Shakopee.
So there you have it. She's already been released. She ended up serving her last third of her sentence actually in Wisconsin. So what is your guys' thoughts on this?
It's
Rest in peace,
foolishness.
Dante.
Y'all both yelled at the same time.
I'm lagging. I'm lagging on my end. Am I lagging on y'all?
No, we can hear you.
Nah,
Y'all's in. I'm
fine.
lagging. Okay.
Rest in
Don't
peace,
y'all
Dante.
know that she? Yeah, rest in peace, Dante, for sure. But don't y'all know that she was using his story to at these places to teach other cops about dang, I'm lagging.
Like
I'm not lagging.
de-escalation.
Yeah, like de-escalation.
Yeah, same thing Metcalf daddy doing in Texas.
She partnered with Imran Ali, one of the prosecutors who helped prosecute her case, to give presentations to law enforcement groups about shooting and preventing similar weapons and weapon confusion incidents. No, you don't need to be doing that. You don't need to be. There was a lot of controversy behind it, so they ended up canceling one of the seminars and whatnot. But you don't need to be doing that. It's like you smudging, you rubbing it in the parent's face. Yeah, type. That's how I would feel. You using my son's incident to, they can learn somewhere else. You don't need to be teaching it because you failed at what happened. Let somebody else teach it.
But I talked about this with, I don't know, I forgot the dude's first name. Y'all remember that Christie guy that got out of jail?
Yeah. I was, man. You just took that from me.
I'll be ahead.
Tragedy into a paycheck.
Yeah, I'll be ahead of all this stuff, man. I tell everybody, black people, we go on apology tours. White folks go on paycheck tours. I talked about this with the Christie. It was the same month that Jonathan Majors went on his. He need a Martin Luther King wife, a Loretta King, and he went and apologized to everybody for his incident, and he had mental health issues, and he wanted to talk to a counselor, and he wanted to do all these things to apologize to the black community. When this white man and his wife went to prison, did a federal time, and got out, and they were on TikTok the next 10 minutes getting rich and got a new TV show. We are the only people who don't use whatever happens to us as an opportunity to go out and just be who you are. We go on apology tours all the time.
I can say this, Souls.
Yep.
Once you've paid, I want y'all to know, once you've paid for your indiscretion, when you paid for it's over with. It's over with. There's no need to be feeling remorseful for what you've done. You paid your price. It's just like if you walked out of a store and you stole something, they say, just bring it back and just give us what you owe us. And then you can just go. Okay. Ain't no need to be out front of the store holding the sign, say, do not shoplift. You know what I mean? It's over with. It's a done deal. Once you paid your debt, that's what they call debt to society.
Yeah.
It's over with. So no longer will I be, I'm not apologizing for that. Man, this right here, this is turning tragedy into a paycheck.
Yeah.
You said it.
And she didn't have to do all her time. She got chump change. Man, look, man, I know people got DUIs got longer time than she got for taking a whole life. Man, come on, man. Y'all better wake up. And she get to keep her pension too. Did she? Did she get to keep her pension too, Souls?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, that's sweet. Oh, that's just like that's like robbing the bank. Go and do your little 3-4 years and come out and keep the money.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Boy, I'm trying to tell you, boy, it's sweet out here on y'all, but y'all better be y'all. But I'm telling you, better be mindful. It's sweet out here on y'all. Open season.
And let me give y'all a timeline. I'm gonna tell you how quick things move when they want them to move. So this is the timeline for the criminal case. April 13th, Potter police chief both resigned. So they both resigned on the 13th. April the 14th of 2021, she was charged with second-degree manslaughter. September the 2021, the prosecutor added a first-degree manslaughter charge. Her trial began 60 days later, November 30th, 2021. December December 23, 2021, the jury convicted Potter on both first-degree and second-degree manslaughter after about 27 hours of deliberation. She was taken into custody. February 18, 2022, that judge that we just seen on that stand, that Chinese lady, Judge Chu, sentenced Potter to 24 months, a downward departure from the state guidelines, which recommended roughly 7 years for a first-degree manslaughter. Chu called it a case of a cop who made a tragic mistake. The 24 months turned into 16 months where she served in prison, with the remaining on supervised release, plus a $1,000 fine and credit of 58 days already served. May 2023, Potter was released from prison after serving her 16-month term. Minnesota attorney Ellison, who prosecuted the case, publicly stated he would not appeal the sentence, despite prosecutors having. Yeah, I wanted y'all to hear this part. See, they try. So the family and them tried to get them to appeal it and take them back to court to argue a longer sentence. But the judge in Minnesota said no. So then the civil case, June 21st, 2022, the Wright family reached a $3.25 million settlement with the city of the Brooklyn Center. At that time, the third largest civil rights wrongful death settlement of any kind in Minnesota history. The settlement was paired with a non-monetary commitment. The city guaranteed reform traffic policy. Y'all remember this part. It's going to be very vital. The settlement paired a non-monetary commitments. The city agreed to reform traffic stop policy, limiting stops for equipment-only violations, and two new officer trainings to de-escalation, implement bias, and weapons confusion. These reforms were formalized through the Daunte Wright and Kobe Dominic Community Safety and Violence Prevention Act, passed by the Brooklyn Center of Council. I want y'all to remember that. I want y'all to remember what else was supposed to be given to this family. Because, you know, we always talk about how do we make change? How do people get justice? So we're going to finish this segment off with the verdicts and outcomes that we just spoke about. And we're going to play this video for you guys.
Killed by police in 2021 says she is not giving up.
This after the Brooklyn Center City Council voted against a proposed traffic.
Let me play this. Let me start that over again for y'all.
All right, the mother of a man shot and killed by police in 2021 says she is not giving up.
This after the Brooklyn Center City Council voted against a proposed traffic stop resolution. Fox 9's Babs Santos is live in Brooklyn Center for us tonight, where there was a small demonstration over this. Babs?
Even before the demonstration, we tried to get interviews with city leadership today, but no one would make themselves available for an interview to talk about all of this, while people were gathering here outside of the police department, claiming that the city was violating its settlement agreement.
You can't hide. You voted to kill Black lives.
Fallout continued in Brooklyn Center on Tuesday night after a 3-2 Monday night city council vote killed efforts to change police policy and training around traffic stops.
My son's been dead for 2 years and 9 months, and you guys say no to a policy that's going to protect people?
Daunte Wright's mother, Katie, says the changes were promised in a $3.25 million settlement with the city after then police officer Kim Potter killed Daunte almost 3 years ago.
They're cowards, complete cowards that are not wanting change. They bamboozled us.
At a protest outside the police department on Tuesday, Katie Wright described her anger and disappointment. She believes lives will be saved if police officers are no longer pulling over drivers with invalid registration, bad muffler, missing license plate lamp, objects suspended from the windshield, or broken headlight or tail light.
It was all written in a resolution that we agreed upon, and none of it has been fulfilled. So, and by them voting no last night, I feel like it's a violation of our settlement agreement, and I will be seeking further legal help.
Wright says she also plans to use her nonprofit to continue the push for these policy changes. She'd like to see a revote of Monday night's decision, or she'll bring this subject back up down the line.
Their vote last night wasn't the be-all, say-all.
A statement tonight from the mayor says, in part, the resolutions before our council were the result of 2 years of collaborative work with community, staff, and national experts. It was a final compromise that incorporated feedback from our police department. I'm extremely hurt, angry, and disappointed with the results of last night's vote.
So there you have it, guys. So this is why I wanted to bring up this series called Grifting, because I think a lot of people miss what the actual going on behind the scenes. And I always tell people, once you take the check, everything else is a rest. Like once you take that check, once you take that money, they're not going to listen to you no more. They're not going to talk to you no more. You won't see daddy being Crump no more. No one's going to help and ensure that those things are pushed through. And you know what's really crazy about all this? All those millions of dollars is going towards everything she's trying to change. The system is just taking the money right back. That's all it's doing. And we can't even say this about race because the mama clearly is white.
And he's biracial.
So how do you guys feel about this outcome of a family who was promised something through a settlement? They got the check, but they didn't get the rest. How do you guys feel about this?
System failure. The system is failing. That system is failing. It's broken promises. You want the people, the public, to trust in your system, and you can't even go on your word. So how do you expect the people to trust in your system? That's sad. That's beyond sad. And it's sad that she has to continue to fight for this when it was in the settlement.
Let me show y'all. Let me show y'all something too. This is why I keep telling everybody, everything is very important. Even the mayor who denied her is minority.
You want us to comply. Why aren't y'all complying with that settlement?
This is Mayor right here, Ms. Graves, who said 2 years of collaborative efforts.
I've seen so many things.
I wish
He's so stupid. He's so stupid. I'm telling you, y'all. I promise we're not laughing at the situation. This is plug.
But no, I'm laughing at the bamboozlement. This is absolutely fugazi.
And that's why I asked you guys, this series is going to be amazing because it's only going to get worse. Y'all know there's more stories after this. You got Sonia Massey, you got we got a ton of stories we're going to cover in this series. And that's why I'm asking everybody, what do we want? What is justice? What is justice? Is justice a check?
It must be. Because that's how they say, oh, just give them some bread. They'll shut up.
Justice is change. Justice is people being convicted for the crime they commit.
You know, like in a state like Minnesota, and
serving
these athletes that get all this money, they get taxed on all their dollars, so they get that money right back. That little 3.2 chump change. That's why I'm shaking my head. That's why I'm so distraught. Like, that's nothing.
Yeah, they got that back from Kirk Cousins.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, man, what a sister, boy, hey, man, listen. When they pull you over, shut the fuck up for your safety and your families. Just go on, get that little punk ass, sucker ass ticket, and go on about your business, man.
Can I ask y'all a tough question? Do you feel families should stop taking the money?
Ooh, now that's a tough. I'll take that money and put insurance policies on everybody in my family.
So you taking the money? Okay. What about you, Rain?
Taking the money. You gotta get the bro. You gotta get some kind of retribution. God damn, you know they ain't gonna act right.
I would take the money, but with that, like the mother, she has a nonprofit. I would use that money towards whatever we need to do to help put change in place. Penny said, no.
Shit.
I mean, it's there's so much that and it's sad that this mother has to advocate for this.
But you know what's unique, and these are things that we don't talk about, right? We don't educate each other, right? So this is a mother who lost her child, who got paid a settlement, who was promised things in the community, right? But her first mistake she did was start a nonprofit, because who funds a nonprofit?
Taxpayers, the government.
The same people that you are asking to change laws with are the same taxpayers who are handing you over thousands and millions for you. And this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't think we think, and I understand, y'all. I'm not saying I'm Tuesday morning. I'm what they call it Monday morning quarterback, and that's all I'm doing. I watched the game Sunday, and I'm telling you everything the quarterback should have did Monday. That's all I'm doing. I'm not taking any credit. This is not some great knowledge from souls, but I really want people to be aware that every decision has an equal and opposite reaction.
Mm-hmm.
You take the money, they feel like you got your retribution. You got your 40 acres and a mule. Oh, you start a nonprofit and you've been taking money out of our taxpayers' dollars every year for the past 3 years. Oh, we have given you back. You see what I mean? Like, those are all the things that you have to think about after the tragedy is over. And that's why you have to have sound-minded people in your circle. It's okay for the mother to be emotional and the parents to be emotional, but you got to have some even-keeled people in your corner. Because while you're getting confused, dazed and confused by all this money and all these people saying they want to help you, and none of those people that was passing out flyers look like somebody I will put on my nonprofit. But hey, that's just, I'm not here to judge. I feel that you got to be very, very careful. Plus, you got to be very, very careful with what you're doing. So, but yeah, man, this is just the start of the cases of Ben Crump's unfinished business. And I think it's something that we really have to start thinking about is every time that we lose a life, what do we want justice to look like? I think that's the number one question we have to ask. Is it just evidence? Is it someone doing jail time? Is it the money? Is it this like what is it? What is it that we truly need? And we got to ask the parents this. We can't answer that for them. What does I would love for somebody to ask the parents that, like, what does justice look like for you? Like for that lady, Miss Nichols, I understand what her justice looks like. She wants those 5 black cops in prison. I'm sure that's very simple for her. But then you have this family here, right? Sounds like they want those laws to be passed about traffic stops, things of that nature. Maybe you need to let your nonprofit go. Maybe you need to fight the true fight. So you know, and 3.2 million ain't a lot, guys. So that, I mean, it might sound like that ain't a lot. People running through millions, that ain't a lot. So you buy a car, a house, you down about 1.8. So just something to think about, man. All prayers to the families out there, the Wright family, the Nichols family. Just something to think about. But we're gonna close tonight's show out with the one and only Souls Talk. Awesome. We will get to all the comments before the end of the show. We have not forgotten about you guys. Just don't want to hold y'all up too long. We already took up 2 hours of your time. So we're going to talk about grifters. And this is the video that we're going to play to kind of talk about it. And then I have a beautiful art to show you guys.
I'm not about to like what I'm about to say. And that's cool. But grifters are one of the worst things that happen in the Black community in the 21st century. I'm not saying this to be put on a pedestal. I don't need applause. I'm only saying it because it's real. Because when you look at the data and the wealth gap, the business survival rates, the home ownership rates, the marriage rates, the overall condition isn't where it should be, in my opinion. Then you come online and it's grift after grift after grift after grift. We got relationship coaches who aren't in relationships, real estate mentors who don't do real estate, entrepreneurs whose only business is selling courses about entrepreneurship, pro-black voices scamming other black people, religious influencers monetizing their faith more than actually living in it, people constantly telling women, don't date a man if you make this kind of money, like that's universal wisdom. People telling others to quit stable jobs while their own stability comes from selling motivation. Meanwhile, real people are losing real savings, getting evictions, quitting jobs without a plan, and destroying stability chasing the image. This is not about attacking entrepreneurship or attacking self-improvement. It's really only about exploitation. And I think it's so important in these times for people to understand that degrees still matter, licenses still matter, certifications still matter, track records still matter. It's important to stop buying into aesthetics without seeing any evidence. If someone is teaching love, verify that they have love in their own life. If someone is teaching business, teaching love, it's important to stop buying into aesthetics without seeing any evidence. If someone is teaching love, verify that they have love in their own life. Licenses still matter. Certifications still matter. Track records still matter. It's important to stop buying into aesthetics without seeing any evidence. If someone is teaching love, licenses still matter. Certifications still matter. Track records still matter. It's important to stop buying into aesthetics without seeing any evidence. If someone is teaching love, verify that they have love in their own life. If someone is teaching business, verify that they actually made money from running a business. Confidence, it shouldn't come from buying into someone else's illusion. Discernment isn't hate, accountability isn't betrayal, and verification isn't negativity, it's maturity. And if we actually care about the community, it's time for us to raise that standard.
So there you heard it, man. I thought that was very articulate how he placed that. And I also wanted to give you guys the exact definition to what is a grifter. I know while me and Rain was on live last week, somebody was stating this in the comments. And, you know, I feel like we always owe it to you guys to educate you so that black people especially can stop calling other black people grifters. So here's the actual definition. What is a grifter? A grifter is a con artist or a swindler. Someone who gets money or property. Let's read that again. Someone who gets money or property from people through fraud, lies, and clever tricks rather than by using physical force. Instead of stealing directly, a grifter manipulates trust so that a victim willingly hands over their cash. So when you think about this, there's no way that Souls can be a grifter. I don't say nothing y'all niggas want to hear from a nigga. I'm out of the equation. Nothing I say is what popular demand. Rain, I don't know. She might can get y'all plug. I don't know. You know. But for Souls, nah, I'm even keel. The core characteristic says deceit over force. They rely on smooth talking, emotional manipulation, and psychological triggers rather than breaking and entering. Again, we spoke about this on our town hall. I told everybody who was watching our show, be careful for people who use the emotional triggers to get you to super chat, push a like button, click a follow. Those emotional triggers are deceit over force. The next characteristic, a small to medium scale. Some run large investment schemes. The term often applies to petty swindlers, fake psychics, or carnival tricksters. Not really anybody in this area. Yeah. The next one says, the last one is exploiting trust. They act friendly, authoritative, or helpful to lower a person's guard before executing the scheme.
Damn.
I'm gonna bring you guys back to the deceit part because it's gonna make the exploitation makes a lot more sense for those who are watching tonight. If someone is always trying to hit you with the emotional triggers, say the things that make you want to respond, that person is helping you lower a person's guard to execute the scheme. When people
Damn.
tell you things that are unpopular, they can't be a grifter. You could try to make it seem like they're a grifter. You could try to coerce other people to feel like this person's a grifter, but you can't be a grifter if they're even keel. If I'm not saying what the masses are saying, or whoever might not be saying what the masses are saying, it's no way they're grifting, because the money comes from grifting.
I've never heard this terminology before. I've heard of bullshitter.
Y'all take a screenshot. Y'all take a screenshot of this, because I want y'all to really see what grifting really is. We have to stop. We have to stop allowing content creators and other people, not just in the content space, even on TV shows, popular people like DL Hughley, all this type of stuff. We got to stop letting people talk about other people just because you're not saying what you want them to say. You're not hearing what you want them to say. Like, we have to stop that. A grifter is the person who is doing exactly that. They're manipulating you. They're using your emotional. They're using psychological triggers for breaking and entering. And I could easily do that. I mean, I have a degree. I worked in mental health. I could easily pull on your emotional strings if that's what I wanted to do every night. But every night I push back and say the most unpopular things that most people don't want to hear.
So many things.
So hopefully you guys got a chance to take a screenshot of what a grifter really is, because that's literally how Ben Crump walks into every room. The first thing he does is manipulate the environment. He pulls directly on the emotional manipulation of the strings.
Yeah. That's cold-blooded. Hey, I'm telling y'all, man, we don't tighten up, black folk. We cook.
Oh, we already well done. It's done.
Nah, we like.
No, we well done. We well done, because if we don't hear what we want to hear, we automatically put a label on that black person. We never try to get to know them. We already label them. So y'all be careful for these grifters. Y'all be careful with people who are saying what you want to hear. Be careful for these people who only covering this, and then you don't know what they're going to cover next. One thing you can say about No Middleman, we cover what we cover and we move on.
Yeah.
We provide a series of education. Some nights we might get thousands, some nights we might get a few hundred. But at the end of the day, we stay true to who we are. We are not grifters over here.
Yeah.
So what is y'all thoughts about what a grifter is after seeing the definition?
No, you ain't getting none out of me after what you just did.
What you said, Plug? I didn't hear you.
He told me you ain't getting that out of me.
None of me after what you just did.
No, I never knew what a grifter was until being in this content creation space. They said grifter. I think I heard it like earlier this year, whenever everything was going down with Lil Dog and all them on that side over there. That's when I first heard the term. I'm like, what is that? I've never heard that before. So, and then you breaking it down here really put it into perspective of what it really means. And I think a lot of content creators too get that term thrown on them just because they're covering a situation and moving forward. No Middleman, we might cover things, but we're not sitting here for clicks and super chats, because we could have said all night long, hey, y'all send a super chat. Y'all know I'm bringing you this great coverage, and make sure y'all hit that. We have not said that not one time tonight, so grifters, they're in there for profit. They pull on your emotional strings for profit, and that's something that we don't do over here on No Middleman. So
you ain't got nothing for him, Plug? It was funny because Saturday Plus, and I ain't never heard of that word.
I ain't never heard of that.
I hadn't heard of it until being in the content creation space.
I've never heard of that word, like to sit here and hear and then read the definition as it's being spoken. This is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't in that. I'm cool with it. Yeah, I bring you the raw, my boy. I bring you exactly how I feel about it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Yeah, like real talk. And that's cold-blooded, man. Like the one I'm thinking of right now, that's an exact definition of that individual is Ben Crump.
Yes.
And it's really truly disheartening. Truly disheartening. Like that's crazy. And you hitting them right at the right time. Like I asked that earlier. It's like, dog, he come in and hit him at the right time. Right at the right time. You mourning. You know what I'm saying? Like, do he have a team? I wonder if he got a team. Oh, why you worry about that? You know, we gonna go and handle all the arrangements for you. You just stay here. We got some press conferences we gonna have to do. We gonna try to get justice for your son or your daughter. And please, you just don't even focus on that. You know, we got people that's in place. And then anybody in that position would be like, okay. You know what I'm saying? And then the ones that would want to help, they'd be like, good. You know what I'm saying? Because they really don't want to be fooled up with it anyway. Trust me, because I have been involved in a few, and I was like, boy, in it, there's no place I'd rather be than not here. Like I would love nothing more than to not be here at this time. That's crazy, man. That's cold-blooded.
I just want people to always understand, go research things for yourself. Stop letting people put labels on people. These labels is nothing but to divide. If everybody's saying the same thing, that's an echo chamber. You are not learning, you are not growing, and you are not moving forward. Period. Yeah, it doesn't mean we have to agree, but you shouldn't be agreeing on everything. Not everything. So we're gonna get to the chat. We're gonna let y'all get out of here and hear that fire song one more time.
Yeah, it was great. DJ Souls on the ones and twos. We need an album.
Okay, Rain. I get it.
Uncle Flood said safety should have been in PC. Penny said she got to keep her police pension too. Shaking my head. Oh Jesus. Uncle Flood said somebody.
Some selectives. Hey, she went on straight Wegovy, lost that weight. She did her time. She came out with a whole 6-pack. She did her time.
Wegovy.
I wasn't expecting it.
He said that a hot cold.
And he said she just gets to go home. Outstanding.
Well, thank you, Minnesota.
Sco said they look at all black males as a threat. Mighty said that is a shame. She should have gotten 35 years.
Yep.
Penny said, I want my taxpayer money back. Plug said, turning tragedy into a paycheck. Penny said, motivational tasers, usage speeches. Penny said, and probably became a consultant linked to a nonprofit funded by Baloo.
Man, Penny knew it before you said it.
Yeah. Penny said, that's the playbook. Message. He said, but we can't hire black felons to sweep grocery floors.
That is crazy.
Penny said, she say she's suing because they violated the settlement. Oh, please say she's suing. Penny said, no, y'all bamboozled yourself by trusting them.
Yep.
Penny said, Rain.
Get your sister.
Penny said, but you're trusting the system to own up to a settlement after they unalived your kid. How dumb does that sound?
Don't do that to him, Penny. Don't you do that to him.
Skull said, I probably wouldn't have settled. I would have tried to see if we could get her more time and all of her pension.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, that's
smart.
Sense.
That's smart, Skull.
Mm-hmm. Mighty said, justice has absolutely nothing to do with money.
You got to tell the people that. Marty.
Penny said, we want to be victimized some more if he keep believing the same system gonna save us and help us change it. Penny said, no. Skull said, yes. Penny said that nonprofit is giving the money right back to the city.
See?
Marty said, I will take that money and put it back into the youth in my area.
Mm-hmm.
Skull said, I don't want anyone trying to cash in on my timely demise.
Big facts.
Miss B says she's still here just cooking steaks.
Yeah, what's up, Miss B?
You're not sharing? Skull said cash in.
Yeah.
Marty said change, equality, prison time for the ones who have committed crimes. Penny said, Souls, you forgot taxes. Soul said 600K. 600K left.
Yeah.
Penny said they got away with $5 and a Sizzler's coupon.
We going to see.
Skull said either everyone in jail or everyone in a body bag, all alleged for content creation purpose.
Hey, Skull said pick one.
Pick
one.
Mm-hmm. Penny said that paperwork only matters if you can get in the room to make change. Just because you have degrees and licenses does not mean you can get into these rooms.
And I want to say this, and I'm not trying to offend nobody, especially you, Rain, but I want to say something to y'all. Y'all white women got to be careful with who you choose to procreate with.
Oh.
No, because
yeah,
that stuff is looked down upon, even in the government as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like they looking at her as like, oh, she just a piece of white trash who married a black man, and now she want to say that her black son got killed. Like that's how they looking at her. Like when you see them in the back of that press conference with Ben Crump, and you got another white dude or Hispanic, like he got a tattoo on his forehead, and they looking at her like she the lowest scum on the earth.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, everybody being stereotyped now.
Penny said those people are still bought and sold just to get into those rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Penny said defamed.
Oh, I-90
I-90 West. I wish he was here earlier. He's a LEO. That would have been a great conversation. Make sure you go back. I-90 said, I agree. He ain't Johnny. I-90, make sure you go back and watch the first part of the show if you just getting in. Law enforcement officer.
Oh, don't.
Law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Penny said grifting, aka running game, does that help? Penny said pimp down, pimp in the streets. Mama V or Mrs. V, excuse me, Mrs. V said those emojis. She said 100 in the fire emojis. And Mighty said she's laughing at Penny. Penny said like and subscribe, not to be grifted. Skull said facts, souls.
Jelly.
Penny said I'll say it for y'all. Skull said we need to stick together and stop fighting and killing one another, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
I appreciate you saying that, Skull, for sure.
Penny said grifted in white people's terms is a con artist.
Yes.
Mighty said don't forget Al Sharpton. And Penny said it's just a legal long con.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Skull said they've been calling Ben Crump that for the last few days in classic chat. Supermax says sons and grandsons calling, but still here also.
Appreciate you. I know. Yes, and Supermac, man, I want to say appreciate you, man. He reshared every video they dropped today, man. So shout out to Supermac, man. I appreciate you taking the time out to rewatch and reshare, man. Means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I say you the mother man.
Yeah, he reshares a lot of our stuff. We really appreciate it. Supermax said Leo season my daughter 21 today because yesterday 15th, yours truly.
Okay, man. Happy birthday, man. Happy belated birthday as well.
Blessings, big blessings.
I-90 said, okay, I'll go back. Yeah, let us know what you think, I-90.
About the Memphis police officers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we appreciate everybody tonight who stayed along to hear about what we had to talk about, man. We're going to do another part 2 of this. Might be a part. It should be able to do it in 2, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So it should be a 2-part series. If anything drops that we feel is vital for y'all to know, we will talk about that tomorrow. If not, we'll do part 2 of the grifting series. But I do want niggas be showing off. Right in the middle of your speech, man. I'm telling you, boy. Well, I'm telling you, boy. I'm just telling y'all, boy. These grifters, boy, they do not stop. He got 35 angles in there. 35 angles. Now I gotta go buy another camera. I do it.
Upgraded studio.
Yeah. He done came over to the crib and said, "Oh, he got this many cameras. I'm getting 15."
No, man. Hey, when people doing stuff like, they doing what they supposed to be doing, you don't get into your bag and feel away. No, man, you level up with them, man. You want to keep the content coming the way it's supposed to be coming. You want the you know what I'm saying? The studio looking like it's supposed to be. That's a fantastic studio right there. If y'all don't know, my boy got a real mean setup over there. You did. I gotta put the flex up. Yeah, my boy.
I do a little bit more with mine. Y'all hang up some pictures or something. I gotta look.
I'm buckified in here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Look at those.
Yeah, I don't like how he's flipping them things that fast like that. Okay.
God, go ahead, Ray. Close out the show. Go ahead, close out the show, man. Nah, that's fine. Nah, that's super.
I like
you
it.
See all that night now. You did.
He said, "What your pocket?" He said, "Watch your pockets, fam. Tell them." Hey, anyway, they coming for yeah.
I ain't gonna watch them. I'm gonna put something in them. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna watch them. Put something in them. Hey man, I old school used to do. They just grab your pipe. Like, what you doing? They just shove something in there.
Hey, one thing I'll tell you right here: with one eat, we all eat. So we ain't gotta worry about that. Rain. We gotta get rain. We're gonna get rain situated too.
Oh yeah, of course.
We're gonna get rain situated, man.
Big place, baby. That what we doing. We do a big place now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Wait till the sports season starts. Go ahead, Rain. My bad.
Yeah, so silly. So before I officially close out, make sure y'all hit the subscribe button, like this, share it with somebody. Make sure y'all come back tomorrow night for part 2 of this series that we got going on. And tonight was never about, and thank y'all too for staying with us. The numbers been jumping all night, so thank y'all for staying with us the whole conversation. We appreciate y'all being here. So y'all know what? I love y'all so much. Y'all have made my year. For real. I have not smiled this much in a long time. Y'all have made my year. Tonight was never about saying that families shouldn't receive compensation. No amount of money replaces a son, a father, a brother, a human being. The deeper question is what happens after the settlement, after the press conference, and after the country finds its next controversy. Because justice cannot simply become a cycle. So why'd you do that? Death, outrage. Let me cover y'all up. Hold on, y'all. Death, outrage, protest, settlement, repeat. At some point, we have to determine what outcome we're actually demanding. If we say we want reform, then measure the reform. If we say we want accountability, then define accountability. If we say we want safer communities, ask whether our communities become safer. If we say we're fighting racism, ask whether the conversation brought people closer to understanding or simply made everyone choose another side. Because a movement without a measurable destination can continue forever while accomplishing very little. And that's where the phrase acceptable losses becomes uncomfortable. Not because anybody openly says these lives are acceptable losses, but because when the same tragedies continue, the same outrage follows, the same money is paid, and everybody eventually moves on. The system can begin functioning as though the losses are simply part of the cost of doing business. And that right there should disturb everybody, regardless of race, regardless of politics, regardless of what side of the argument you occupy. Tyre Nichols should not simply become a chapter. Daunte Wright should not simply become a settlement figure. And families should not have to watch the world turn their worst day into a national movement only to discover that eventually America moves on. So before the next protest, before the next hashtag, before the next attorney stands behind another grieving family, ask the question first: what are we fighting for? And once we know the answer, demand something that can actually be measured. Because if there is no destination, there is no victory. And if tragedy simply becomes something we mourn, monetize, settle, and eventually forget, then we have to confront an even harder possibility. Have we stopped preventing losses and simply learned how to accept them? That's the unfinished business after the headlines.
Everybody remembers the headlines. Everybody remembers the name. But when the cameras leave, when the hashtags stop trending, who stays long enough to see how it ends? Verdict, sentence, settlement. Criminal court, civil court. Same tragedy, different lanes. After the headlines, after the lights, after the cameras disappear in the night, everybody spoke when the story was hot. But what happened after? Tell me what we forgot. After the headlines, follow the file. Justice takes longer than a 30-second soundbite. Names on the screen, pain in their eyes, but truth still matters. After the headline, Memphis nights, January 23. 5 officers, 5 charges came immediately. 2 took pleas, 3 went before the court, but federal and state brought different reports. Federal jury, tampering convictions came. Civil rights counts didn't all in the same. In Tennessee, May 25, not guilty on every state charge they tried. Family attorneys stood demanding justice, but criminal prosecution wasn't their function. That's the distinction when examining the case. Who filed civil claims and who prosecuted the state case? Outcomes, 2-part show. PDF. After the headlines, after the lights, after the cameras disappear in the night, everybody spoke when the story was hot. But what happened after? Tell me what we forgot. Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, 21 traffic stop ended with the firing of a gun. Potter said taste it, but the handgun fired. A young father gone and the nation asking why. First and second degree manslaughter, the jury convicted. 24 months was the sentence inflicted. Below the guideline, roughly 16 served. Family said the punishment wasn't deserved. Crump represented the family and criticized the time, but prosecutors handled the criminal side. Minnesota Attorney General carried that fight. That's an important distinction when telling it right. Case outcomes, 2-part show. PDF. Stop. A settlement is not a conviction. A lawsuit is not a prosecution. A press conference is not a verdict. Civil attorneys represent families. Prosecutors bring criminal cases. So before we decide who delivered justice, ask who prosecuted, who negotiated, who filed, who won, who lost, and what actually changed. After the headlines, open the files, go past the cameras, the speeches and trials. Don't give me a slogan, don't sell me a side, give me the record, let evidence decide. After the headlines, where are they now? Who faced the jury? Who made it out? Who got convicted? Who walked away? What did the family receive? At the end of the case, Tyre Nichols Daunte Wright. The names became headlines. But we're not stopping at the headline, because emotion may start the conversation. Yeah. This ain't no handouts. No shortcuts. No middleman. No middleman. No middleman. No middleman. No middleman. No middleman. get it direct. Pressure talk, I don't deal in the flex. Cut the line, I don't wait, I collect. If it's mine, I'ma claim my respect. No middleman, I move with intent. Boss moves only, every dollar was spent. No favors, no deals, no rent. Built from the ground, out a whole game bent. Started with a vision, had to cut the distractions. No handshake, just results and reactions. They was talking plays, I was making it happen. Turn losses to losses, then flipped it to passion.